CS687 Capstone AWilkinson, video number 5 of 6 total. Findings, including complexity induction in an activated manner, meaning all parameters are not equal to 1, resulted in 3 shorter path run types, and also surprisingly resulted in a mending of crossover. Rather surprisingly, with D factors, deep input parameters close to the segment endpoint of less than 1 and C factors of 1 or greater, which would incentivize formation of switchbacks, was actually, for the 13 runs completed, provided most favorable results from TSP valid perspective. Complexity induction generates lots of new data beyond total path distance. New data offers lots of new means of tracking in-process build of traverse path. Most of those means not explored in this work. New data offers lots of opportunities of varied plotting. Complexity induction offers higher order feedback, second effect that can be channeled back through the input parameters. So the feedback loop can be engineered to work off of input parameters and first order results, and or the feedback loop can digest complexity induction second order effects, such as area under the curve. Complexity induction is arguably applicable to other 2D TSP solution methods. Chazelle stated in 1985, as final sentence of the conclusions of the reference 8 paper, we mention the extension of our techniques to higher dimensions, as well as the dynamization of the two-dimensional case as 2 interesting open problems in the general area of convex hull maintenance. Findings. An additional finding is that I expected the research to be more closure-like, in that I would find a limitation to the complexity induction and the nested triangle solver. I think that the opposite was discovered. There's just so much more to be studied. Conclusion: a specialized subset theory of complexity induction was developed. It was hypothesized that if complexity induction is correctly controlled such that participation thereof in the TSP solution process for a 2D dataset using a nested triangles derived convex hulls solver adhering to both shortest delta distance and inner to outer layer consumption criteria, then improved valid paths might result relative to the same solution approach without complexity induction. The algorithm focused on switchbacks. Incentivization of minor, non-severe switchbacks unexpectedly proved beneficial. For the specific dataset studied, the hypothesis was shown to be true. There was evidence of mending of traverse path, elimination of crossovers. This subset complexity induction theory generates lots of data for subsequent experimental use, proper feedback loops. Future work. The script was constructed such that the system parameters, the input parameters, are applicable to and unchanging for the entire run. So they're being manually changed at the end of runs based on data from the previous output from the previous run. A more complex algorithm might vary the parameters for individual convex hulls as well as perhaps partially across convex hull layers. Back to the dynamization, one might use subsets of the full set of data to create convex hulls and therefore seed a different portion of the data set to accomplish a drastically different overall path. Paths that were generated herein were all very similar. And final finding is that the work of the research before, prior researchers with their limitations of computing power and computer assist visualization attained skills that likely are not so present today in that they could visualize these things in their head. Already mentioned Chazelle, stated 1985. We mentioned the extension of our techniques to higher dimensions. Also, Eddy stated in 1977 as first sentence of final paragraph of the reference 7 paper There is no feature inherent in the basic idea of this algorithm which prevents implementation for dimensions higher than 2. Quickly point out that maybe I brought something to the table. As nested triangles are to 2D data sets, tetrahedrons are to 3D data sets. So maybe writing the code relative to nested tetrahedrons might provide a core engine that provides quite a bit of mileage. And I was quite happy to find those 2 quotes, dimensions higher than 2 and dynamization.